Hey, real quick, Leslie, unmute and introduce yourself, and then I'll tell you who else is on the call.
Okay. Hi, I'm Leslie Harbor. I am over the events for Saline County, so VBS, and then our father daughters date night.
Nice, nice. Hey, and when are you all going? What week are you guys doing it?
June 10th through the 13th.
So you guys are doing it June 10th to the 13th. I'm just telling y'all, Saline County, their team is phenomenal, and the way they think about things, it's just I mean this in a good way, different. And so a couple of things that we're implementing this year are things that we just heard that they had done, and we want to give them a shot because we like the idea of them. And so we're actually going to talk about some of those tonight. So Leslie, I'm glad you're on the call because it's going to be fun. So just to kind of go around the horn for you, you've got Megan Washburn. She can wave. She's up in Fayetteville. Kristen Van Houten, who's at Greenbrier. You got the Crawfords, who are en route from Oklahoma or to Oklahoma. They're doing Russellville. This is their first year to run VBS. And you got Terry Ruff, at least for me, down in the corner in Pine Bluff. So we're gonna run through a lot. I didn't realize it was a lot until I realized it was packet day, and so we're gonna be running through some important information on the packets, which Leslie's already seen because that's why they were blowing me up. They're like, "Hey, do you have this and this and this?" And I was like, "I'll send you everything I got, Leslie. Just stop texting me." So let's talk. So last 2 weeks, I don't know if you saw the VBS landing page. It looks sharp. It looks so clean. And so when people go to newlifechurch.tv/VBS, all your campuses are down there. Just a real quick, brief intro, a button that says something like sign up to serve. It looks so good. And so thanks for all the work that you guys put into that to get those up and running out. I've been looking, and man, some of y'all are like ready to go now. You've got so many volunteers served up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Others of us, like West Little Rock, are thinking how we can pull this off with 13 people. Don't worry, they'll sign up. They're just slower than your campuses. But again, great work on getting all that. Also, you should have received all your print pieces. Thumbs up. Did everybody get their print pieces? Love it, love it. If not, then it's probably hanging out in Conway. But I think they were drop shipped. And so check with your admins if you don't know where that is. So all that is going great. So great news, y'all. At this point in the game, let me tell you where you should be. At this point in the game, you should have your directors and coordinators all recruited. You should know what your budget is because you've talked to your campus pastor. You should be thinking with everything in you, how can I get people to sign up to serve? And at this point in the game, if you've got the right people, they should be begging you for information. Hey, do we have stuff on stage? Do we have stuff on activities? Do we have stuff like decor? Like, give me everything. Well, great news. We are 1 week away from having everything. And so we're just going to run through that real quick. So we've got the stage packet, which is coming this week. We should have, and what's included in that is like all the game time details and links for you to order everything. It is the MC scripts that talk about how we're going to review the memory verse, how we're going to get kids excited, just what the characters are going to look like. If you need some advance on that, like I need to talk to our video people and see how much we are going to lean in to the Wes Anderson movie, The Aquatic Life with Steve Zissou. If you don't know who Wes Anderson, he's the most deadpan comedic writer, very big on symmetry, but he has this movie that's about some guys in a submarine, and even when we started talking about deep dive, the film guys were like, oh, we'll lean into this. So I need to find out how much and how much that's going to impact our costuming on stage. So think naval officer, think engineer, right? Like someone who's on a sub or an underwater drilling rig who's just taking care of all the stuff, right? So you can have a captain, you can have a character that's a captain, like that's kind of running the whole thing. You can have a character that's like the crazy engineer that's keeping everything, who's running off stage every once in a while because things are breaking. Think think diver in whatever sense you want to spend money on. And so if you want to go like old school, big fishbowl helmet, lovely. If not, you just want a guy walking in a snorkel and he just says all his lines through a snorkel. Those are some options there. And so like that's kind of, you'll find that in the stage packet. That's kind of what the characters are going to look like. And you can do one MC, you can do two MCs, you can do three MCs. I always suggest multiple MCs just so that they can have some, they can play off of one another. But again, all that stuff as far as specifics and links and all that, that'll be done by the end of this week. We've got worship, and we've finalized all the songs, and by the end of this week, we'll have 3 out of 4 motions done, and hopefully by next week, we'll have 4 of 4 songs, motions, so that you can start learning them, and we'll be working on all those lyric videos, and so you can get in there and get all that. As each of those things become available, we'll click into there. Go ahead, and if you're on the document, you can click into activities. I want y'all to see this, and so if you can't see it, I'm a math guy. I love systems. I love math, and so I want to tell you, how do you determine the number of activities? There's like 22 options right here of just activities that you can do, and like your team may come up with more, which is awesome. So how do you decide how many activities your VBS needs? So here's how you do it. However you're dividing up your groups, right? So like let's keep the math simple, that you have 300 kids, right? My son just walked in, heard 300 kids and flipped out. You're probably not going to have 300 kids, but it makes my math easier. So let's say that you're doing 3 rotations, and so 100 kids at a time are going to be at your activities. Well, so you would take that number, divide it by 10, and that's how many activities you need to have, like minimum. So for that VBS, you would need a minimum of 10 activities that can handle a lot of kids. And so, right, but let's say instead, when we're going to talk about this when we look at the small groups packet, instead, let's say that you're going to split it in half, and half your kids are going to be at activities at the same time. That means now you're going to have 150 kids. So, quick maths, how many activities is now your minimum? Put your answer in the comments or unmute and tell me. Quick maths, John Crawford. Seth Mays in with the correct answer, 15. That is accurate. And right now, John is just mouthing the words. So anyway, that's how you do it when it comes to activities. And then we've got all kinds of activities. If there's any questions about activities, post them on Slack. And if you don't have access to Slack, let me know. k.little@newlifechurch.tv, and I'll get you on that. Because what that allows us to do is everybody can see it. We can reply to it in Slack, and we can update the document. So scrolling through all this, talking through activities, any questions about activities? Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to this. If you're with me on this document, click into the small groups training. And I want to walk you through, because basically I wrote up how we're doing it in West Little Rock. You can make a copy of this document and customize it for you. But I want to go ahead and walk through this so that you all can kind of know what we're thinking. Okay. So when you do a small group leader training, first and foremost, you are always going to go over bright lines, right? These are things that'll get you fired from VBS. If you do any of these things, and I just want you to say I speak at this firmly if I'm doing this part of the training. Like if you break any of these things, I'm going to think one of two things. I'm going to think you're a pedophile or you're an idiot. Like that's how important these bright lines are, how important they are, how like clear that I can make them and you can kind of see what they are. And I even tell them stories about how with my kids, people don't know they're my kids. And so like even my kids, I don't let them sit on my lap. I don't show them any more affection than what's listed on the bright lines because I don't want anyone confused thinking that I might be harming, grooming, or otherwise just being weird with a kid. Okay. So you can see the main points all right there. And these passages are firm and final. These are now all the Bible stories, the verses that we're going to be pulling from for those Bible verses. Memory verse finalized, Proverbs 18:10. It's right there. Here's what I want to talk about as far as our VBS flow. We've shifted and changed a little bit over the last few years, but like I said, Saline County did something that we're eager to try. And so I want to kind of walk you through it because it's a little bit different than anything else. It's different than we've ever done it. And so I want to kind of walk you through it. Again, you can shift these times and go right back to a traditional main session, three breakout rotation followed by a closing session. That it's a simple switch, and we can talk about that as we go through it. But we're gonna have parents drop off to small groups. We loved that last year. It just immediately gave the kids a place where they belonged. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 drop-off points in our building, but we're gonna do 4 color teams. I think first grade is yellow, second grade is blue. Second grade is green, third grade is orange, and fourth and fifth are blue. And so older grades will drop off on one side of the building, younger grades will drop off on the other side of the building. And then we'll walk through what they're going to do in those small groups here in a second. But for 30 minutes, so basically VBS officially starts at 6 o'clock, but small groups will start at 5:45 as soon as we open the door. At 6:15, they will move from the small group and come to the main session, which will only last 35 minutes, y'all. It's going to be fast and furious. And the reason it's going to be fast and furious is because it does not include a Bible story or an altar call. And so the thing that we're borrowing from Saline County, and we're going to give it a shot this year, is we're going to do Bible story and altar call as a breakout. The thing that's attracted us to that is it broadens who can be involved in sharing that Bible story, because it takes a special skill set to be able to share a Bible story from an elevated stage with 100+ kids in front of you. That's just, I'm just telling you, that's just a unique skill set. But if instead we have 25 kids in a kid life room, well, that's pretty much any teacher that we have that teaches on the weekend can do that. And so we're just excited about that possibility. And we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to give it a shot. So we'll talk more about what that looks like. Oh, sorry. Are you, Leslie, are you trying to say something or are you talking to someone off camera?
No, sorry, I'm talking to my husband.
Okay.
We have life group in like 45 minutes at our house. So
We'll
I'm
be
trying
done.
to prepare him.
We'll be done. We'll be done. Don't you worry. So I'll just assume all finger gestures are towards your husband. Okay. So then as main sessions wrap up, and this is where we're going to do breakouts a little bit differently. You can see we've got an hour and 10 minutes for breakouts. So it gets a little complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to where you see colors, And let's just walk through what it's going to look like for our first graders. Let's just walk through what it's going to look like for our first graders. You always feed your youngest kids first. Like always. That's just kids ministry 101. You feed your youngest kids first. So our first graders will go immediately to food and they'll eat in 15 minutes. Our food team's phenomenal. They just come, grab a sack lunch, sit down, and eat. If they're not done, they just bring their leftovers with them to the Bible story, and they can continue to eat while they listen to the Bible story. When they get to the Bible story, we're really going to need to train our small group leaders to help us get the room under control quickly, so we have plenty of time to share that Bible story. The goal is again that the Bible story is only about 10 minutes long, but then we have plenty of time to kind of give a good altar call each night at VBS. That wraps up, and the Bible story person sends the first graders that are interested in trusting Jesus to go talk to someone who's now going to walk them through the gospel outside the room. And it kind of confirming whether or not they want to trust Jesus. And then we will meet with the kids and the parents at the end of VBS. I'm going to pause right there because we've covered a lot. Any questions so far? Because sometimes I talk fast and my brain doesn't keep up with my mouth doesn't keep up with my brain. Anybody? Man, I'll tell you what. You guys are just that good. That's really what's going on. I can tell. All right, let's keep going. So then at the end of that, so at the same time, look over at green. Look over at green because second grade is doing the exact opposite. They're coming straight to Bible story. Then they're going to food. So that breakout is half the length of activities. And then when they go to activities, they're at activities for 30 minutes where they're getting to go with their small group leader and try out all the different activities. So because activities will be a little bit longer than it normally is, we probably will need to provide more activities. Orange and blue go straight to activities, and they're there for 30 minutes, and then they transition. And then orange goes first to food while blue goes first to Bible story. And then halfway through that breakout, they switch places. Okay? We're going to try it this way and see how it goes. And the reason that we're doing this is because I might be talked into just doing it, just the traditional triple try like breakout. And we may go down to 3 color teams. But right now, this is how it's written up. And I meet with my VBS director after this. And so she may say, forget this, which is possible. Any questions on what we're thinking for breakouts? Okay, perfect. We did not do a closing session last year, and it hurt us. And the reason it hurt us is because there is something very powerful about having your kids come back together. Oh, so um, then after that, y'all, everybody, you can kind of see back to the colored diagram. Everybody goes back to their small group areas, and they do small groups all at the same time, because small groups is kind of wrapping up the night. And so if you scroll down just a little bit more, so they're asking, hey, do you have any questions from the night? And then each night we're covering so what, and you can read what that looks like for each night that we've got. And then if you have any time left, you're going to review. If not, you're sending them back. So we're doing a closing session because there's something powerful about parents waiting in the back for you to finish, seeing that final worship song, and then them kind of being a captive audience as you're talking to both kids and parents about what the next night holds. You're telling them about family night, and you're kind of building the kids' expectations of how fun it's going to be. And you're telling the parents, like, hey, Thursday, Friday, whenever you're doing family night, you're not dropping your kids off on that night. You're coming with them to family night. And so that's why we're doing a closing session, is we're expecting it to help our parent communication, which we felt like wasn't the strongest last year. And so that's how we're planning on doing the flow. You can read all the details of what small groups are going to look like in that small group training. Any questions about updated flow or about small groups?
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Will we have any narrative to go during the snack time to go along with the lessons?
So there is a narrative video. And so if you want to save that and show that there, then your main session could be even shorter. Or if you just want to re-show it, you can do that. But yeah, those videos will be 6 to 8 minutes long, maybe less than that. They're fairly short scripts, and we're filming that the last week of April, not this week, but the next week. No, first week of May. May 7th and 8th is what we finally landed on. So, okay. Anybody else got any questions? Awesome. Food. Food is that's going to be a chance for you and your teams to get creative. We're still trying to figure out some potential donation stuff. We know it's going to be less than it was last year, but we don't know what it's going to look like yet. We're still waiting for them to kind of tell us that final what that's going to look like. And so we probably will not talk much about food moving forward. We'll reach out individually if we have a potential benefactor for your campus, because we don't know which campuses that's going to impact yet. As far as decor, I've texted back and forth with the person who is creating that document for us. That should be done this week as well. And so again, by the end of this week, you'll have most of the packets. In 2 weeks, you'll have all the packets. At least you should. That's kind of where we're planning. And so, any questions about any of that? Awesome.
I have a question.
Love it.
When do you think the Pro Presenter packet will be ready?
That's a great question. That is always one of the final things to get done, John. And so let me check with creative and find out when those slide backgrounds are going to be done. and that will let me know. Here's my guess, John. The Sunday before your VBS. That's when we're gonna have it done, John.
Okay. Do you know? I'm just trying to put together the tech and production plan.
Right.
Will our I got the question from the person running Pro Presenter. Will we have? Will our lyric video or lyrics for the worship songs? Will they be a lyric video, or will they be slides in Pro Presenter with the lyrics on them?
Oh, they're going to be videos. They're going to be videos.
Okay.
So here's the deal. What will happen is, are you guys doing track worship, or are you guys doing live worship?
Well, we're gonna do for the fast songs. We will do to a track.
Cool.
Then during slow worship song, we're gonna do an acoustic set with two vocalists. So we're kind of doing a modified.
So here's what I'm going to do as far as modified as well. Just for anybody who this would be like, anybody who's thinking about doing live worship, what I'll do is I will when we make the lyrics videos, whatever background we end up using, we'll create a loop of that. So then if you want to create the lyrics in Pro Presenter so that you can click through with your band, that'll be, but all those will be videos that will have song, lyrics, and background all queued up.
Okay, that'll be perfect.
Okay, cool. Okay, any other questions before we move on to our final topic of the night? Terry.
This is
Are we? Oh, go ahead.
no, mine's a different topic. So if yours is on topic,
Okay,
go for it.
Go ahead, Terry.
Well, I was just wondering. We were talking about their books and stuff. And are we going to do like a little backpack thing like we did last year's little bag, so they can kind of keep all their stuff together every day?
So there will be less stuff this year.
Okay.
So
Well, I was thinking that we had seen that by this point last year, so that's why I was wondering.
So this year there's no like journals that we're providing.
Okay.
If you wanted to get some sort of small paper book and just call it Diver's Log or whatever, and just give it to your kids that way, so they have a thing to take notes, great. But that's not a piece that we're working on and providing. What we're really focused on, and I haven't shown it to you yet because we're still kind of finalized, but like I'm so excited. We've got this parent piece that is like VBS continues, and y'all, it's gonna be so cool. Like it's this sheet that you can put on like a fridge. It's like a legal size sheet, and then it's got like this submarine magnet that you can kind of track down the path, and it's like you revisit all these names of God. And so there's like QR codes that allow them to re-access the narrative videos, to see the videos again, like so they can share with their parents. There's going to be a QR code that like different Kid Life pastors are going to share like some family adventures that you might go on to continue to talk about God is my victory, God is my provider, God is my, like each of those four. There's Rebecca Shatswell, who oversees prayer for our whole church. Like she's actually writing up some model prayers. I hope she keeps them short. Some model prayers for families that will be on this sheet. So this sheet is basically like a reminder of what the journey that their kids have already been on, but also an invitation for as a family to continue the conversation. And so that's really like, that's why we're not doing any type of book or really much merch at all, because we're trying to do something. Again, it's just this whole idea of like VBS doesn't stay in the four walls, but we want VBS both to reach out to the community, but we also want to see VBS continue in homes. And so our next meeting, we probably will be able to take a look at that, and I'll show you how it's looking and kind of how that's going to play out. So Megan, you had a question?
I may have missed this in a previous one. Are we doing shirts this year?
Always shirts.
Have we seen those yet?
I have not, and haven't even heard chatter about it. So I probably need to look into that.
We're really hoping that they're similar to last year because those were just the simplicity with the verse on it was a huge hit.
Great. Well, I think it also helps now that we have the memory verse solidified. And so I'll reach out to our creative team tomorrow and find out when the t-shirt design should be done. I think that it's tough when you've got such a fun icon as that submarine to not put the submarine on the shirt.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I suspect it's going to be a submarine with a VBS and a New Life Church somewhere around. But I haven't seen any design or heard about it. But I will check into that because you're right. We do need to be aware of those and know what's coming up. Other questions before we? Okay. All right, putting some notes for me. All right, let's talk ministry safe. We're going to be touching base on this every time we talk because it is such a big deal in our church. As far as like we want to keep our kids safe, we want to keep our volunteers safe, and again, like right now in Little Rock, there is a very large church. The head pastor just had to resign. Families are beginning to like run for the hills from the church because of an incident that they did not handle well. And it's funny because the guy who resigned wasn't even the head of the church when the incident happened. But so even more so, like I am more on board with Ministry Safe. I'm always a huge fan, but I'm even more on board. And so I just want to ask, how is everyone feeling about Ministry Safe for your VBS volunteers? I would just love everybody to take a turn, unmute, and just let me know how you're feeling. It can be good, it can be bad. I just want to know. Crawford.
Well, at downtown,
Seth, there we go.
Downtown's a blessing and a curse, right? Because it's hard to get volunteers in general when your church is small.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that, like, a vast majority of our church is Ministry Safe trained because we are small.
That's right.
So last year we knocked out so many that I don't really foresee it being a problem this year because they're 2-year certifications. So
right.
I do see next year being a problem again for us,
okay.
But this year is probably a year off, and next year will be hard again for us.
Okay. Well, Seth, I want to give you 2 pieces of good news. Number one, it's 3 years, not 2.
Oh,
it's 3 years,
nice.
Not 2. And also, when it's time to renew, you don't have to take them through the whole process.
Really?
All they have to renew is their training. And if they can answer the 25 questions correctly, then they don't even have to watch the videos.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
And number 2, although they have updated the videos and we want people fresh, so anyway, I will let you know that all they have to do is answer. And then the other one is just the background check, and it's even a lighter background check than normal.
Yeah.
And so, like, rather than it being we'll say 3-hour process, it's a 1-hour process, and that's if they watch the videos. So, but that's good to hear, Seth. Somebody else, how are you feeling about getting your volunteers through Ministry Safe?
Last year we had a mad dash because we had kind of done like a shortened one the year before.
That's right. So did we.
So I feel good because we had way more volunteers than we did kids in a phenomenal way, but we've also grown a lot in the last 6 months. But we did it last year, so I know we can do it this year.
Cool. Awesome. Good to hear, Megan. And somebody else.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. We're really pushing a lot of our whole youth staff to step up. And but we also have a lot of growth this year, so we have a lot of new people that have just started coming. So I really haven't gotten up. And we just went live with our volunteer on Church Center. So
gotcha.
I'll just have to see how it goes. If we have a lot that want to help and volunteer, and they go ahead and get signed up, Ryan's ready to get them ministry safe and push through. So I think we'll be okay.
I love it, Terry. That's exciting. Growth is exciting, and
yeah, it's been a little overwhelming just in kid life and little life in general the past few weeks, but it's a good thing, and we just have to adjust. So
okay. Hey, Leslie, how are y'all up in Saline feeling about Ministry Safe? Who's in charge of that for your all's campus for getting everybody Ministry Safe for VBS?
Yeah, so we've got 3 people that are able to get everyone rolling for Ministry Safe. We have 1 new admin on the team, and so I think she's taking that portion over. So what I've been doing is, as people register, putting in a spreadsheet, and then she can go through and identify if they're already registered or what steps in the process she's working through. Because I'm not trained or whatever to do Ministry Safe, so we're kind of having to do multiple steps. But from kind of the admin side, they're figuring that most of our people are probably already good to go. So it'll just be if we have any newcomers. So it should be a lot lighter than the past year.
Love it. So exciting. That's great. Crawfords, what about y'all?
We are excited. We have 94 people registered to serve already.
Shut up.
Russell,
just so y'all know, Russellville loves VBS like no other city. Like no other city.
We are. VBS is like this is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we love it. Anyway, Russellville has already transitioned to most of our ministry leaders handle their own ministry safe.
For sure.
We have a lot of our team already certified, and most of the people that are signed up, we recognize the name has already been set up ministries. But Savannah is compiling those 94 people that are registered into a spreadsheet.
That's great.
And looking, cross-referencing to make sure they're set up. And she's ordering. She's going to go ahead and order anybody that's not, and then get with us to work on the interview part, but she'll take care of everything else.
Man, what a blessing. That's great. So, that's incredible. Kristen, what about you?
I'm kind of viewed as our campus Ministry Safe Nazi, so I feel pretty good about it. I've probably about 75% will already be Ministry Safe certified, so we'll do our good push, but we have a pretty good ratio to get people through in a timely manner.
That's great. That's great. And again, y'all, I'm just telling you, y'all have been so faithful over the last few years that, again, I think you're right. Like, I love these high percentages of folks that are already through. We had a meeting about Ministry Safe on Thursday, and they were just sharing that Collide Camp a couple of years ago, they had 17% of their camp staff were through Ministry Safe a few years ago, and this year they had all but one person show up cleared by Ministry Safe, and so just know, anybody who's volunteering in youth, great news. They are ministry safe cleared. So invite them on over to VBS and just save yourself some work. It's going to be great. Hey, I've got on here just a ministry safe process. If you've got kids who are going to do worship for you, just the under 14, like there's some steps that we want to take them through if they're going to serve, and so that's all there for you. But anyway, we just want to keep making ministry safe a priority, and just again, like how we communicate it is huge. Like, hey, these are just steps that we take to make sure that our kids are safe, our volunteers are safe, and that our church is a safe place. And yes, to a lot of people, it seems extreme. But man, I'm just telling you, I'm 100% confident as we go through this process that our kids are safe. And I love being able to say that with a level of confidence that I can say it. So here's the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, here's what you're going to be doing is you're going to recruit the mess out of folks to come and serve at VBS. You're going to be thinking, where can I send this link? Can I send it to my life group leaders? Awesome. Send it to your life group leaders. Can I send it to my youth leaders? Great. Send it to your youth leaders. Have them share with their folks. Can I send it to my custodial staff? Heck yeah. Send it to your custodial staff, right? Like, can I just who can you put this in front of? Unless you're Russellville, like 94 is plenty. Like, just stop. Just stop. Everybody else probably has to keep working. The other thing is that you're going to need to schedule a volunteer interest meeting. I'm not talking about the meeting with your directors and your coordinators where you're planning it. I'm talking about like really starting to create momentum among your volunteers. I'll check. If that initial interest meeting document isn't already on the links and overview, I'll make sure it is by tomorrow. Because we have a fairly copy and paste format that we use for those. I'll get it up by tomorrow. And the other one that I haven't written here, but I'm going to right now, is get packets into the hands of your coordinators ASAP. So it's like even if they're partially done and we given you a link, like get them to your directors, because we're going to be those are live documents. So as we change things, modify things, revise things, they're going to be revised. And so just again, good leaders want information as quickly as we have it. And so that's why we do these calls, is to make sure that you all have as much up-to-date information as we can get you. So questions we've already got on the table are T-shirts and time table. I'll be looking into that. Any other T-shirts or anything else you need that you don't have or know where to find it?
I don't need anything.
Okay.
I may have stopped to mention it again. If you're struggling for volunteers, may think of places where people can double up, like the worship team can help in activities or snack later, or if you got somebody helping with check-in, can also help in activities and snack later.
For sure.
Double up on roles where you can.
I love it. It's a great idea. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll meet back in 2 weeks, and it will be May, and that will be crazy. So May 5th is our next call. Until then, all y'all have my phone number, and Saline County's not afraid to use it. No, seriously. Hey, if you guys need anything, that's why I'm here. And so always reach out. So, all right. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk later. Bye.